Hey, what's up guys? Normally this is where the intro would be, but I just want to let you know there was some background noise I wasn't able to quite get rid of, so I do apologize for that ahead of time. I hope it's not too annoying.
Hey, what's going on everybody? This is Noble, and today I wanted to do an updated version of my Gimmick Puppet deck profile. So I wanted to update this because what I'm running now looks way different from what I ran like the last time I did this video months and months ago. Last time I did this profile, it looks way different now. It's way more consistent and much better in my opinion. Not much to say, guys. Let's get right on into this one. Start off with, I'm running 3 Gimmick Puppet Bisque Doll. This card is so great. For those of you who do not know what Bisque Doll does, you can special summon this card from your hand by discarding 1 Gimmick Puppet monster. Really easy to get out into the field. You banish this card from your graveyard. Your opponent cannot target Gimmick Puppet monsters you control with card effects this turn. Really 2 simple effects, but it's fantastic. This card is great. I do wish it to get that gold square bump, but probably not going to happen. But next up, we're playing 3 Gimmick Puppet Dreary Doll. This card is like really phenomenal. What this one does is, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 1 other Gimmick Puppet monster from your graveyard and special summon this card from your hand. And that's really great because there's so many ways to just dump this card into the graveyard and then get advantage off that by just bringing this into the field. And it's a hard once per turn. This card cannot be used for the Exceed material of an Exceed summon, except for the Exceed summon of a Gimmick Puppet monster. So do keep that in mind, because I do play a few Exceed monsters that aren't Gimmick Puppets in this deck, so that is important. Look how beautiful that is, but that is pretty important. Next up, I'm playing 3, if I can grab it, Gimmick Puppet Magnet Doll. Also, Magnet Doll is pretty important, because what Magnet Doll does is really simple. If your opponent controls a monster and all monsters you control are Gimmick Puppet monsters, you special summon this card from your hand, and that's not a once per turn. It's not even a soft once per turn. So you have multiple of these, and like you're probably only going to control Gimmick Puppets anyway. Just being able to bring this out and get multiple copies in your hand, just go into your C place from there, is really helpful. I'm running 3 Gimmick Puppet Humpty Dumpty. This card helps out a lot because what this card does is when the card is normal or special summon, you can special summon a Gimmick Puppet monster from your hand. Really cool. He is level 4, so you might be thinking, it kind of sucks. You know, what about our plays? But we do play a card in here that's going to help out with that, so don't worry about it too much. And then it's just a hard once per turn as well. I'm playing 3 of maybe the scariest art in the entire like Yu-Gi-Oh like lot. Gimmick Puppet Terror Baby. Like, I wish this one would have gotten a holo. What the heck were they thinking, man? Anyway, Terror Baby is cool. It's the only other level 4 besides Humpty Dumpty that we play. I'll bring this one up because it does have a lot of text, so you can read it with me. When this card is normal summon, you can target 1 Gimmick Puppet monster in your graveyard except Terror Baby. You can special summon defense position. Really cool. Bring something out from the graveyard upon its normal summons. That really helps out. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of your Gimmick Puppet monster's effects this turn. So if you know you're about to go off and completely ruin your opponent's day, you can make it even worse by banishing Terror Baby from the graveyard and not even giving them a chance to respond to anything, which is awesome. Something else I'm taking in now is 3 Gear Spring Spirit. This card is so good. It's really simple effect. Level 8 machine. This card cannot be normal summon or set. Must first be special summon from your hand by only having machine type monsters in your graveyard, which you are, and it's a minimum 1. And then it's once per turn, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, and its attack becomes 0 until the end phase. That's really cool, and none of this is once per turn, by the way, so you can just get on multiple of these. It's literally free level 8 machine fodder. Literally, that's what this is. And then if you want to use this other effect to target a face-up monster your opponent controls, attack becomes 0, and then go into your C place from there, you can do that. I'm also running 2 Desperado Barrel Dragon. I just started running this and I have really loved it, honestly. I did it 1 and I just bumped it to 2. I really like 2. If you don't want to do this, that's fine, but it's a level 8 machine monster. If a face-up dart machine monster or monster you control is destroyed by... Let me start it. If a face-up dart machine monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle, a card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. So this is super easy to get out into the field. Just be careful if you do have Desperado Barrel Dragon or Gear Spring Spirit. You won't be able to summon Magnet Doll because you have to have only Gimmick Puppet monsters in the field. But that's really not an issue too much. Just make sure you get Magnet Doll out first before you start doing the other thing, so it's not really a big deal. Desperado Barrel Dragon has another effect where once per turn during the battle phase, quick effect, you can toss a coin 3 times and destroy face-up monsters on the field up to the number of heads, and then if the result was 3 heads, you draw a card. This card cannot attack the turn this effect is activated. If this card is sent in the graveyard, you can add a level 7 or lower monster that has a toss coining effect from your deck to your hand. So you can search out the other Desperado Barrel Dragon as well, because it's not a restriction that you can't get the other one as well. But a lot of times you're really just going to use this to go into just a more level 8 plays, but it has high attack, and we do run limited remover, so you can use this as well for popping, and then but you can't pop and attack at the same turn, but you can use this for OTK, you can do that as well. That's actually it for the deck. I'm not running Ash. This is just a tight deck all around. If you wanting to run Ash, if you want to play this a little more competitively, like I said, there's not tournaments or anything going on right now, so my friends and I basically decided to just play for fun. But if you wanted to run Ash, there's definitely room to do that. So that's it for the monsters. Not a massive monster lineup at all. Let's get into the spells, because it's quite a massive spell lineup for sure. So for draw power, we have, I believe it's 14 targets. Let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, so we have 14 targets for trade in this deck. So a lot of card advantage off of this. Just discard a level 8 monster and draw 2. As well, they're all dark. So of course we are running 3 Allure of Darkness. Be careful what you banish. After you play a little bit, you'll know exactly what you can afford to banish and stuff, and kind of what to do. But just being able, because it's just never a dead card, because you're gonna draw a dark monster. So just being able to get 2 off of that is really good as well. For the rank up magic cards, they are very important in this deck. I'm running 2 Quick Chaos and then also 2 Numeron Force. So Quick Chaos is cool. It's a quick play spell. You target a number XC monster you control, except another number C monster, and you special summon from your extra deck a number C monster, the same number and name as that target, but 1 rank higher by using it as material. Really, really simple. Then you attach materials from that monster to this one. But Numeron Force is the really good one. You target, same thing, you target face up C monster you control, special summon from the extra deck a number C monster of the same type, and that monster you control but 1 rank higher by using it as material. This special summon is treated as an exceed summon, then you transfer the material from that monster to the new one. But the really cool effect of this is then if any face-up cards are on the field other than this card and the monster summoned by it, negate the effect of those other cards. So it really neuters the board and basically allows you to have free play with that monster. Your monster's effects are still viable and live, but everything else isn't. So it does help out with that a lot. I do really like this card. I'm playing 2 of each. If you wanted to play 3 Numeron Force and 1 Quick Chaos, that's fine. I do recommend playing at least 3 rank ups, because there was just several times where I was only trying 2, but I just couldn't get there. Like, I just couldn't get a rank up, and I wasn't seeing them enough. So I did bump it up to 4, and 4 seems to be pretty optimal so far. Because we're playing like all machines and we have targets for this, I'm playing 3 machine duplication, just really simple. You target a face-up machine monster you control, and with 500 less attack, and then you special summon up to 2 monsters from your deck the same name as that face-up monster. Really simple effect, but it does help out a lot. I'm also running 2 Junk Puppet. Junk Puppet is the built-in monster reborn for the deck. Really beautiful card. You target a Gimmick Puppet monster in your graveyard and you special summon it. Really simple effect. Hard once per turn. I'm running 2 of the Condolence Puppet. Condolence Puppet is awesome. You send Gimmick Puppet monster of different names from your deck to the graveyard up to the number of monsters your opponent controls that are special summoned from the extra deck plus 1. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 machine exceed monster you control. It cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects while face up on the field. While the whole time it's face up on the field. You can only use each effect of Condolence Puppet once per turn, and you can use both of them in the same turn. It does not have the restriction except the turn this card was in the graveyard. So it's really, really good for just being able to Foolish Burial several things, and then also giving something that's on the field protection as long as it's on the field. That's really good. I'm running 1 Perform Puppet. This was a tough one. I bumped this down to 1 because we have so many level 8s in the deck. I don't need this as much for Humpty Dumpty and Terror Baby, but you do still need it. If you would rather play it at 2, that's fine, you can do that. But honestly, running it at 1 so far has been okay. But this is the answer to Humpty Dumpty and Terror Baby's level issue that I said you might be wondering about. You can banish a Gimmick Puppet monster from your graveyard, and all monsters you control currently become that banished monster's level until the end of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. So you can just banish Gear Spring Spirit, or not Gear Spring Spirit, excuse me. You can banish like a Bisdoll or a Dreary Doll, something like that, and all of a sudden your Terror Baby and Humpty Dumpty become level 8. So it's really not an issue. And then if a face-up Gimmick Puppet monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished Gimmick Puppet monsters, and then you can special summon it. You can use each effective perform puppet once per turn. It is a great card. Like I said, I don't need it as much because that level issue hasn't been too heavy lately, because we just have so many level 8s in the deck, and they're pretty easy to get out for the most part. So that hasn't been an issue too much, but if you want to run 2 perform puppet just in case, that's fine. And then for the last of the 3 spells, we're running 3 limited removal. I ordered the secret rare once, but they didn't come in time. I didn't want to keep waiting, so whatever. But limited removal just gives you straight up OTK the crap out of your opponent, gets everything in this deck as a machine. If you want to run 2 of this and another perform puppet, that's fine. If you want to bump down the rank up magics, that's fine. If you didn't want to as much draw power, get rid of some allures, that's fine. You could just bump up. There's flexibility in this deck for sure. And then also for the 2 traps, I'm just playing 2 perform puppet. I'll read this for you guys. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon Gimmick Puppet monsters with different names from your deck up to the difference. And then if your opponent's life points are at least 2,000 higher, you can set 1 rank up magic normal spell directly from your deck. And then for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you do not special summon monsters except Gimmick Puppets. So it's a great effect, but do keep in mind it does lock you into Gimmick Puppets, because like I said, we do play a few things with the extra deck that aren't Gimmick Puppets. But this is a really great card as well. I did bump this down. I was running at 3. But it's just a tight deck, but there is flexibility. If you want to run a little bit different, go for it, by all means. So that's it for the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. The extra deck's pretty simple. A lot of Gimmick Puppets. I'm playing 2 Gimmick Puppet C40, excuse me, Gimmick Puppet of Dark Strings, and then also number 40 Gimmick Puppet of Strings. So we'll go into Strings first. What this one does is once per turn you detach a material from this card and you place 1 string counter on each face-up monster on the field except this card. If you do, during your opponent's end phase, destroy the monster's string counters, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed. So you want to bring this out, put the counters on them, and then ideally rank up into number C40, Gimmick Puppet Dark Strings. Look at that beautiful artwork. And what he does is when he special summon, you destroy the monsters with string counters, and if you do, you draw a card. So you just want to be able to put counters on with Gimmick Puppet Strings, and then go into Gimmick Puppet of Dark Strings. Just pop them, draw a card, and then inflict damage to your opponent equal to the highest original attack of those among those monsters destroyed in the graveyard. Your choice if tied. Just a ton of advantage off of bringing this card out. And then once per turn, you detach material from this card, then place a string counter on each face-up monster your opponent controls. Which isn't as great these days, because a lot of times they're just going to get rid of those monsters and go into something else, because they're not going to have to deal with that. Next up, I'm playing 1 Gimmick Puppet of Leo. I'm not really going to read his effect, because you're almost always going to go into number C. I can't read that. Is that C88? Is that what it is? Yeah, C88 Gimmick Puppet Disaster Leo. This card is awesome. I've won several times with this card, and I love winning with this card. This is my favorite Gimmick Puppet monster. 3,500 attack, 2,500 defense. Must be special with a rank up magic spell card targeting number 88, Gimmick Puppet of Leo, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. This card cannot be targeted by card effects, so he has protection. Once per turn, you can detach a material from this card, and then inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. I keep hiccuping. I have not hiccuped all day. As soon as I start recording, hiccup. During your end phase, if your opponent's life points are 2,000 or less, and this card has no materials, you win the duel. So win condition, target, like I brought this out. My opponent had a full board. They just could not get over this, and they were sweating. Boy, they were sweating. It was just really fun. Like because you can detach materials, and they keep losing 1,000, and this can beat over most of the things that they bring out, and they can't target it. So this card is really helpful for that. Like they just have a clock when this card is on the field. I'm also playing Number 15, Gimmick Puppet Giant Grinder. This card's really cool. Up to twice per turn during your main phase 1, you detach a material from this card, then target special monster your opponent controls and destroy it. And then if it was an Exceed monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack. And then also his bigger boy counterpart, number C15, Gimmick Puppet Giant Hunter. Once per turn, you detach a material from this card, then target one card your opponent controls, destroy it, and then if it was a monster, inflict damage to your opponent equals original attack. Basically, it's a walking ring of destruction with an attack. Is basically what it is, but it's not just a monster you can detach, and you can destroy any card. So that's really cool. I'm also running 2 of the Gimmick Puppet Gigantus doll. This card is really cool. You can detach 2 materials from this card, then target up to 2 monsters your opponent controls and gain control of them to the end phase. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot special monsters except Gimmick Puppet monsters, nor declare an attack except with Exceed monsters. So it does lock you into Gimmick Puppets, and you can only attack with Exceeds, but it's not going to be a big deal, and let me show you why. You contribute this card, all monsters, so you contribute this card that no longer has no materials because you used it to take 2 of your opponent's monsters sucking up. So you contribute this card, and then all monsters you currently control become level 8 to the end of this turn. So do you see where this is going? You literally summon this, detach 2 materials, take 2 of your opponent's monsters, tribute this, and all of a sudden your opponent's monsters become level 8 fodder for us to go into our place. Also, for the non-Gimmick Puppet stuff, I'm running, 2 more Gimmick Puppets actually. I'm running 2 of the Gimmick Puppet Chimera doll. This card's cool. I don't run this card a ton, but I do use it some, so I am running it too. It's just 2 machine monsters during your main phase. If this card is, if you control this link summon card, you can activate this effect. You cannot special monster from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except machine XYZ monsters, which doesn't lock you into Gimmick Puppets, just machine XYZ monsters. So do keep that in mind. You can, I done lost my place. You can also take a Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck, and then either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. You can Foolish Burial, add it to your hand, which is really cool. And then if all monsters you control are Gimmick Puppet monsters, minimum 1, you can special summon 1 Gimmick Puppet monster from your hand. So there's a lot of advantage off of this card. It does help out a lot. I don't go to it a ton because a lot of times I was really trying to turbo out the Exceed monsters, but this does help out to have that option there. And then now for the non-Exceed monsters, the only other one, like I said, Exceed machine, you can go into Dingirsu, upon its summon, it's just a non-target non-destruction removal, and then it protects as well. And I'm also running 2 number 23 Lancelot Dark Knight of the Underworld. That card is really, really great. I have gone several times. I've gotten 2 Lancelots on the field. It's really devastating. They don't have a ton of attack, but it can attack your opponent directly while it has material. And when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target face-up monster your opponent controls and destroy it. Also, once per turn during either player's turn, when a spell, trap card, or another monster effect is activated, you detach a material from this card to negate the activation. As an Omni Negate, as 2,000 attack, you can attack directly. And then if it attacks directly and it does battle damage, if it does battle damage to your opponent, you can pop a face-up monster your opponent controls. So it is really, really good. I have gone to number 2 23s. I've gone to 2 number 23s several times on the field at once, and I love it, honestly. So yeah, guys, that is it for the deck. I do hope you enjoyed it. Gimmick Puppets are not expensive at all. Like, the extra deck might be a little bit. I think, like, number Sastraleo might be the most expensive. I think it was like $8 or something like that, or maybe 10. Giant Grinder might be like 7. But overall, it is a cheap deck. It's definitely flexibility. And the extra deck, I moved away from a strict Gimmick Puppet package because just adding these 3 in just really help. There's versatility for this deck a lot. If you're watched so far and you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do so. I would greatly appreciate that. Hit that notification bell so you can get notifications for deck profiles just like this one, and more box openings. We'll be opening up Rise of the Duelist very soon, and I cannot wait. And if you've watched this video and liked it, hey, give it a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate that. I'm a very small YouTuber, and it allows my videos to, let's see if I can say it this time, circulate around YouTube a little bit better, so I do greatly appreciate that. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, I will see you in the next video.